Welcome back, folks, to Bad Camera Angles and Good Reviews. Here with Nicole and Corey, or Corey and Nicole.
Are they really good, though? I don't know. People watch, so...
I don't know. We watched this movie called Double Jeopardy. You may remember it from your childhood. I know I remembered watching it, but I had no memory of the plot. So let's get into it. Double Jeopardy, a 1999 movie directed by Bruce Beresford, 1 hour and 45-minute runtime. With a...
Oh, we skipped that.
The critic score is 28%. The audience score is 61% on Rotten Tomatoes. With 100,000 plus people reporting in. IMDb is
That's for the audience score, by the way.
Out of 10. The director is an Australian and best known for directing Best Picture winner Driving Miss Daisy in 1989.
We watched that last year, and the disc was flawed, and we did not review it. I feel bad.
I don't remember watching that. Okay, written by David Weisberg and Douglas Cook. It had $40 million budget, a $40 million budget, and went on to gross $177.8 million at the box office. Jodie Foster.
Pretty good.
That is pretty good. I like that. That's a good profit. Yeah. Nice job, guys. Jodie Foster. Remember her? Was originally, she became a lesbian, but I'm sorry. I know. It has nothing to do with anything. That's all I remember about her. She was originally supposed to play the character that would end up going on to be played by Ashley Judd. She then left for personal reasons. She was probably exploring or something. She was curious. Okay. Michelle Pfeiffer, Meg Ryan, and Brooke Shields were also offered the lead role, and they turned it down. Okay, probably because the script was not great. If they had ad-libbed it, it might have been better.
Like they did in The Fugitive.
Yes, exactly. The whole concept of this Double Jeopardy film hinges on an article. I don't know what this means.
Okay, so basically the whole movie is the premise of the movie is she killed her husband, or did she? And can you be convicted for the same crime twice? Double Jeopardy, which is also in the TV show Jeopardy, R.I.P. Alex Trebek. There's Double Jeopardy. But anyway, apparently the concept that the film hinges on is misinterpreted for the movie, and the law really doesn't give someone a free pass to commit the same crime twice that they've already been convicted of.
Wow.
Another one of the many plot holes of this movie.
Wow.
And I felt like the last movie that we reviewed together was The Fugitive. I felt like this movie kind of relied on a lot of the similar tropes, i.e. Tommy Lee Jones. By the way, he charged his regular fee for this movie $10 million.
Oh my.
So basically a quarter of the budget for this film was to pay Tommy Lee Jones to be in the movie.
Dang. He makes a lot of money.
So basically the Tommy Lee Jones character plays this lawyer that had a drinking problem and was disbarred, and now he works for the probation department in a halfway house, kind of supervising all the ex-cons as they get out of prison or reintegrating into society. He's their parole officer.
There he is.
And he drives a 62 or 63 Ford Galaxy two-door hardtop. And the movie takes place in and around Seattle and Whidbey Island in Washington. Huge shout out to Kristen Kohler. Whidbey Island, you know who you are. My wife's cousin.
Now you know.
So, anyway, that's nothing to do with the movie, but...
Right.
Okay, so aside from the notes that we took here, there's not really anything else on Wikipedia about this movie, so take it away. Now you just got to talk about your... Go ahead.
Kids keep trying to creep in. No.
We do things live here.
You'll see you in a little bit. So basically, I keep wanting to say Winona Ryder, but the Ashley Judd, why am I saying it? The Ashley Judd character, can't really see it that well. She had, there she is right there on the other side of that knife. She has a son named Maddie, who he acts dumber than a box of rocks, by the way. I'm sorry.
He was a kid.
But actually, you know what it is? It's not that he acts dumb. It's just that the script isn't really that great. They could have made it a little bit more expressive. But anyways, she has a son named Maddie. He's, I don't know how old he is, like 4 or 5 or something when all the bad stuff goes down. She has him get babysat by her friend Angie so she can go out on this romantic night on a boat with her husband. That's
a
how
sailboat that he was going to give her as a gift potentially if they liked it.
Oh, okay. So then there's kind of a racy, sensual scene at the beginning. I don't want to say too much.
Is this movie kid appropriate?
Yeah, no.
It is rated R.
It's R. So it could have been PG-13 if they maybe didn't show so much, or I don't remember a lot of bad words, but
Not really.
anyway, so then she has this sensual moment with her husband, and then they go to sleep. And then sometime in the middle of the night or early morning or whatever, she wakes up and he's not there in the bed. And she's like, what happened? Then she finds all this blood all over. So then she follows this bloody trail up to the deck. And, when she's on her way up to the deck, she finds a knife on the charcuterie board and it's all bloody. So she's like, oh my gosh, like what happened to my husband? So she keeps shouting like, Nick, because that's his name. And then she follows like this blood trail, and it's obvious that he's nowhere on the boat. He obviously went overboard somehow, and obviously he's injured and got stabbed, and she didn't do it.
Seasonal allergies.
She's looking around like, there's nobody else here. And then all of a sudden the Coast Guard shows up.
Just happens to pull up right as she's holding a knife in her hand.
Right. She picked up the knife, which people, if you stumble onto a crime scene,
don't touch.
Try not to put your fingerprints everywhere and touch the murder weapon. Probably going to be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So, anywho, but she was asleep and she was disoriented, so we'll give her a pass.
Yeah,
whatever.
We'll give her a pass.
So she's like, oh my gosh, my husband's nowhere, and what the heck? And they seem to be in love and had a good relationship, supposedly, and blah, blah, blah. So then the Coast Guard sees her with the knife, and then she gets basically framed for his murder, but she didn't do it. And then while she's in prison, her gal pals in prison who know more than she does say that
tie into the Jodie Foster prison women.
Oh,
anyway,
the lesbian. Yeah.
That's
well, there's none of that hanky panky in this.
It wasn't Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. So she basically gets advised that, like, just serve your time, tell them that you did do it, because they're never going to retry you.
This is what doesn't make sense to me. Right. You supposedly murdered your husband, but then maybe they were only able to let her out on probation after 6 years because there was no body found. I don't know. If you go to, was it a first degree conviction? I can't remember the details. That would be important.
She says, like, oh, he's a strong swimmer. Like, maybe he made it. And they're like, no, ma'am, the water's like 50 cold. Degrees. Yeah. It's way too cold. So that's kind of a plot hole for later because, she asked her friend Angie, who, remember, was watching The Sun, if she... Are we giving spoilers since this movie's so old?
It's like almost 30 years old.
She asked Angie, can you adopt my son? Because she's going to have this huge legal battle, and then she goes to prison. So Angie reluctantly, she's like, and then she reluctantly adopts the son. Well, then she finally calls to try to talk to her son, however much time passed.
This is a tie-in.
How much time passed?
In months. So she, all of a sudden the friend Angie wasn't there anymore, and she moved without and she didn't tell her.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. Okay, but can I say something really quick? This is kind of the tie-in to the movie The Fugitive. In The Fugitive, Richard Kimball character played by Harrison Ford is having to use all of his sleuthing skills to find out why his wife really was murdered.
Right.
And she is also using the Ashley Judd character. Does it say on the back of the box? Judd plays Libby. Libby. Libby is also having to use her sleuthing skills to find out where her son is. And then, dead giveaway, plot hole. Or not a plot hole. This is a big major plot thing. She finally finds out the number of where he is. Son.
The real truth is that her good friend Angie was having an affair with her husband, and then he was also having financial troubles, and so
he was insured for $2 million.
Framed his own wife for his own murder so that he could assume a different identity and get the money because they had put the life insurance into a trust for the son. And then he sent and then first he lived with Angie in San Francisco, but then she goes to find Angie and her son, Maddie. And
then they're in Colorado.
And then she finds out that the husband had made this elaborate thing happen so that the house had a gas leak and blew up and killed the...
Oh, it didn't blow up. It just, you could get killed by carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh, I thought she said it blew up. No, the house was still standing.
Yeah.
But something about the oven or
so
there was
a big
explosion.
Bad dude.
But the plot hole is it never explains a couple of things. How was he? Did he stab himself? I guess, and then
How did he
stabbed
get off the boat?
himself. He leaves a blood trail. How did he? Did he swim through that frigid water and reach the shore? And did the affair gal help him with that? Like, it never explains how that. It never explains how
I
they
would
did
have
that.
loved, like, in the movie, we were talking about this in the movie The Fugitive, they do these flashbacks to the past that kind of, like, show you things. This movie, I don't know. It was okay. It was cheesy. You did get excited when they were locking her inside the mausoleum.
Oh yeah, so this is
that was one of the better.
Another beef that I have with this movie is that she acts stupid. You know, so she.
So the kid is as dumb as a box of rocks, and she's acting dumb.
Yes, she's just
and you
not.
call me judgmental for calling everybody clowns and morons.
Okay, I know.
Wow.
I don't like those words, but well, you've rubbed off on me.
Gosh.
No, I'm just saying that if your spouse, I know she loved him. I get that. But if your spouse framed you for their murder, would you trust him enough to go track him down by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
And say, you know, I know you framed me for your murder and I spent 6 years in prison and I barely got out, but if you will just tell me where our son is, that's all I want, and then we can just let bygones be bygones. Like, would you really trust that man?
Because then he's like, meet me tomorrow in a graveyard and all shall be revealed.
Yeah, she's like, I know you changed your identity and now you don't go by Nick, you go by Jonathan Devereaux.
He's a southern gentleman in New Orleans.
Oh, so all he cared about was being charismatic. He's this charismatic narcissist.
And he was like a hotel owner, and it was like,
yeah. I don't know how he got to do all that, and he likes to give these speeches and pretend like he's got all this money and he's high society and everything. So then, you know, she's like, oh, you know, and it's all theatrics because she bids on him so they can go on a date, you know, for $10,000. I knew you were gonna say that.
It's over 12 minutes.
Really,
no one's gonna watch.
It's dumb. It's like, would you trust that person? So then, of all places, he says, meet me in a cemetery and I'll bring Maddie. So then he hires this kid to run around the cemetery. You see him pay him off later.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
all
so
the
stupid.
spoilers
It sends her on a wild goose chase, chasing after this kid who kind of looks like he might be her son. And it's like, how stupid are you, lady? Like, you don't bring any police. You don't, you know, just, she should have.
Well, she couldn't bring the police because she was an escaped fugitive because she violated her parole. That's
okay. Well, that's not okay. All right. Backtrack. Not police. That's not what I was thinking originally. What I was thinking is she should have just gone by a different identity and hired, like, you know, paid cash to some shady private investigator or something. Find the guy herself and, you know, piece it together with whoever, you know, gather all the evidence together so that they could show that it was the same guy, you know. But meanwhile, the Tommy Lee Jones character, he's piecing together that this guy is not who he says he is and that he's really her husband and he changed his identity and blah, blah, blah. So it's very, very similar. It's almost exactly the same as The Fugitive, really. Except swaps.
Except for not a good quality of writing. I don't know.
There were some really, really good parts. Like, okay, back to the cemetery thing, just real quick. So she chases this kid around the cemetery until Jonathan Devereaux, it was her husband, Nick, until he's able to sneak up on her and bonk her on the head. One of my kids is hiding in here. And put her in a casket. Thank God it wasn't underground.
It was in a mausoleum.
In a mausoleum. So then you see her light this lighter.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, if it was me, I know I would have just accidentally burned the whole freaking thing down. Like, but anyways, and of course she has a gun in her pocket. Which
how did the husband just threw her and her backpack that featured her .38 pistol. Anyway,
he would have felt the gun and taken that away. Yeah. I mean, another plot hole. But she shoots her way out of there, and then she goes back, and then she still doesn't just shoot him. I mean,
she gives this guy a lot of opportunity.
She should have been mad enough if supposedly the double Jeopardy thing even was real. But so then instead, she and the Tommy Lee Jones guy go. This is all Hollywood, and it's so dumb. They're like, oh, we have all this evidence against you, and you're never going to get away, and all this stuff.
And then there's the shootout.
And she's like, I should kill you, but I won't. You know, it's like,
So
Come on.
what's your review?
So then they have this shootout, and of course Tommy Lee Jones could have died. He got shot in the arm, thank God, in the shoulder.
They weren't going to kill Tommy Lee.
Marry him. Marry Tommy Lee Jones.
He was a recovering alcoholic.
I don't care. He was a good man. Anyways, so I guess.
Oh, and their connection was that his daughter was taken away from him because of his alcoholism, and
he was sad, and she missed her son. Yeah. So, but
and
however silly the son was. So. I mean,
it was entertaining.
You wanted to keep watching.
It was pure fluff.
It was.
But it was nothing compared to The Fugitive. It was an entertaining movie.
You know what would have been really funny, and what I told you earlier, is I really think that she should have yelled to the Tommy Lee Jones guy, "I didn't kill my husband," and then he would yell back, "I don't care."
That would have been a great tie-in, because they were playing a lot off that movie. Would have been so funny. Okay, so I was toying between a 3 and a 2. Okay. I think I'm going to go middle of the road. 2.5 out of 5. There was moments that I was very entertained, but overall it's just cheesy. Yeah. I am more in agreement with the 28% critic score, which I don't always agree with, because of the audience score with over 100,000 people reporting in, like you had mentioned, was 61%, which would be putting it in the mid 3s. But I think I'm in the mid 2s, 2.5%. So what do you rate it? Or 2.5 out of 5.
Well, when she broke out of the coffin, I'm
still going to rate it 1 out of 5.
You can tell based on what we're saying. When she broke out of the coffin, I was probably 3.5 out of 5. But then as the movie went on and her and the Tommy Lee Jones guy kept doing dumb stuff,
1 out of 5.
I was like,
Zachary's a man of
I was probably
strong
2.5 or 3.
Yeah, we're right aligned. Okay, folks.
It was too
Everything's too bland.
Who would have known that there would be an over 16-minute review of Double Jeopardy?
I told you almost the whole movie.
You don't even need to watch it now.
But still watch it.
Until next time, we'll see you then.
Bye.
See ya.